Welcome to the Emily the Mystic Show. You're about to walk through a portal that leads to all things mystical, magical, spiritual, and supernatural. I'm your host, Emily. I'm a spiritual mentor, an Akashic Records practitioner and teacher, an intuition development coach, and a galactic channeler. If you're an old soul on a self-discovery and healing journey, you are in the right place. We'll be diving in deep to some of my favorite mystical topics, including manifestation, past lives, the spirit world, energy, and so much more. Get ready to embrace your inner mystic and live your most authentic life possible. The portal is now open. And the portal has opened today to another mystical guest conversation with a dear friend of mine and an incredible past client who I am so freaking proud of. And I can't wait to introduce her to you guys because she is just so talented and has so many amazing things going on. So today we are speaking with Catherine, who is a full-time Holy Fire Reiki master, a Kundalini Spiritual Teacher, an Akashic Records Level 3 consultant, and a psychic medium. She considers herself to be a professional energy healer and a channeler. And in her sessions, her focus is on identifying the core causes of any chronic issues or reoccurring themes that you may be experiencing and providing support for your healing journey. Through channeling high vibrational benevolent beings and guides, her aim is to uncover the root causes of emotional pain points or blocks, facilitating deep cellular and soul level healing. Welcome, Catherine, to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. It feels so cool to be on here and just having some time with you. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. And I would love for you to share with the audience, first of all, where you're from, and then what your astrology, sun, moon, and rising is.
So I live in Bergen County, New Jersey. So it is very close to New York City, very suburban area, and just fun and busy. I like to keep busy. So it's a great area for me to be in physically. And my sun, moon, and rising, I am a Gemini sun. I am a Pisces moon, and I am a Libra rising. I definitely resonate with my rising sign for sure, just with struggling with balancing constantly, just doing and resting. And that's just a lot of my journey. So I definitely feel very connected to that part of my chart.
And I love this because by the time your episode is released, it will be Gemini season. So you'll be celebrating your birthday very soon after that. So yay. And
Wow.
I have to say, Catherine exemplifies Gemini energy to a T. She's just so curious, constantly wanting to discover new things, learn new things. So I just love that you're here to share that energy with us today.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, definitely excited to be here. And for sure, just my lifestyle is definitely like quick and learning and growing and just like discovering. And yeah, definitely a true Gemini.
And what is your human design type?
I am a projector, and I definitely feel like that speaks volumes to just the way that I actually use my gifts in my personal life and also business life to support my clients. I find that I can really take a step back and see from like bird's eye perspective dynamics in people's realities and just able to give guidance based on a higher level perspective and just help people find easier routes to their healing.
And I love that so much, especially because I have a lot of projector clients and projectors in the audience. And I feel like you are such a beautiful example of someone who's able to master your energy while also being a business owner, while also having a lot of things going on, while also serving your clients. So as we go throughout the episode today, if you have any tips and tricks to share with any of your fellow projectors out there, we would love to hear them.
Okay, definitely, definitely. It's been a true journey with that myself, with just energy and honoring myself in that way. So if anything comes up, I would love to share.
Amazing. So let's get started with getting into your story, how you got here, I would love to know, what are some of the pivotal moments or times of your life that really led to you being on this spiritual journey, and what did that look like?
Yes, thank you for asking. So, as a child, I definitely was connected to my intuition. I felt that connection organically, and throughout just being in society and going through the matrix, I just silenced it and reconnected in my 20s. I was working for a construction company, which was very just masculine energy dominant. I was overseeing a cruise and working very much with my boss. So I was, in a leadership position, which really a lot of my wounding was in being in that masculine energy of just telling people what to do and really standing in that power of the masculine and not really knowing how to rest and receive. So when I left that job, I was having a lot of anxiety and just depression, and actually allowed myself to feel my feelings for the first time, which was very scary. So that actually ignited a just really tough time of learning what feelings are and what they actually feel like and how to fully experience them and honor them and move past them. And I was working with a fantastic shamanic psychotherapist that held space for me in order to understand myself more. And I dedicated 8 months of full-time healing for myself in that way with a therapist, allowing myself to face my fears in being unemployed and sitting with my feelings and self-discovery and learning who I really am and really taking a look at myself and my feelings in the mirror and just saying like, okay, like this is scary to feel, and just
Mhm.
let that happen. Um, and as that happened, I started noticing that I was really connected to the earth and the just I noticed the oneness of just everything is connected, like the world is alive and like we're all just nature. And I started working with an herbalism mentor, discovering plants. And that was huge for my personal healing. And then from there, I was really addicted to just like learning more of just the Reiki journey. And I was working with Kundalini um, and then, just mentorships and yeah, like it was like an addiction. It just awakened me and my curiosity, and it just was a domino effect.
That's amazing. And I feel like there's so many people who can relate to the experience of all of a sudden getting woken up to the fact that, yeah, you are a sensitive person. And yeah, you do have a lot of feelings that are buried that you haven't gotten the chance to feel or take a look at. I know for me personally, working in my corporate job, I definitely stuffed a lot of things down for a very long time. And then all of a sudden, when you're in a position where you have time back, whether you are unemployed or you just have perhaps less on your plate, you start to feel things and it starts to feel really uncomfortable. And then you're sort of forced into taking a look in the mirror and recognizing some of those things that are going on behind the scenes. So, do you have any tips for anyone right now who may be going through that journey of discovering their emotions, and how would you suggest that people get more comfortable with being vulnerable?
Breath work was a huge support for me. I was even just a free method. I found this one really helpful free download from Insight Timer. It's a panic attack guided meditation, and it actually counts your breathing for you. I found that that really helped me like be in the moment and be with myself and just sit and listen and exist. I found also just Googling methods of like how to rest and reading some documentation on that, because I think the monkey brain kind of starts to happen where we get into our mind so much that we almost forget the things that are right in front of us that we can really support ourselves with, and it makes things a lot easier. And of course, if possible, to find support, whether that's with family that you trust, or some type of professional that you trust, and of course, like, follow your intuition, like, someone, once you set an intention of like, hey, I'm looking for someone to help me with my feelings in whatever way it is, or whatever your experience is, like, that teacher, that support will present itself, because that's just the way the universe works.
It's so true. I always say if you need to set the intention to find someone specific, the universe will definitely help you with that request.
Yeah,
So,
for sure. Yeah. And just being like from a centered place, like, really figuring out, like, I'm feeling a certain way and I authentically, like, want the help, and being, like, intentional with that, like, specific, because the universe really does send you exactly what you ask for. So just being really
mhm.
intentional around, like, what help you're looking for would be great.
So true. So, for you, going through your journey, working with practitioners who supported you, at what point did you start to realize that you felt called to help other people do the same thing?
So what's interesting about that is it started to happen when I was in my Reiki master training. I feel that the just holy fire energy of Reiki helped me fully step into that teacher role. And for a little bit, I had some imposter syndrome where I was like, am I going to be able to do this? Like, am I going to be able to step into this role of teaching someone else? Because it felt like I was being pushed by the universe before I fully embodied it. So yeah, the Reiki master training was epic in that way.
And how did you find Reiki, or should I say, how did Reiki find you?
Yeah, so that's a great question. My sister was connected with a girl who she met online, and she was supporting spiritual businesses. And she just basically said to me, like, hey, let's take this training. And I was like, okay. And I just did it, and it felt good. I really wasn't thinking too much about it. I just did
Hmm.
it. And I remember as I was taking the level 1, level 2 training, I was noticing how good it felt, and how, like, it just flowed, and I felt so at peace with just the experience. And when the teacher was teaching the business aspect of it, I actually was like, "Oh, I don't think I'll do this as like a business." Like, this is something that I just feel so, like, spiritually connected to for myself. I didn't even fully realize, like, why I was taking the training.
Of course. And now here we are.
Exactly.
That's so cool. Definitely a lesson in following your intuition, everyone. If someone asks you to sign up for something and you're like, yeah, I feel like that feels good to me, then do it, because you never know where it could lead.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for everyone listening, can you explain to the audience what Reiki is, first of all, and then what the difference is between traditional Reiki and the holy fire Reiki that you do?
Yeah. So Reiki is a Reiki practitioner channels spiritual consciousness, essentially. And the frequency itself, the practitioner is the middle person. So when they're given an attunement, or in Holy Fire Reiki, it's a placement or ignition. That's what they're called. It's when the student is receiving the frequency, the ability to channel it. They share this endless amount of healing energy, of spiritual energy. It's similar to, like, ki in Chinese medicine, just like the vital force energy, pranic energy, to the person. And it's healing whatever ailments or emotions or imbalances, essentially, that the person is experiencing. So the difference between, so Yusui Reiki is the form of Reiki which a lot of practitioners practice, like, here in the United States or in the West or even globally. It's the most common. So I did my training with William Rand, who is living in Hawaii currently. He is still around. And he discovered the holy fire frequency, which actually is its own form of Reiki. It's essentially an enhancement that practitioners can get that already have the Yusui lineage. So even if you're level 1, level 2, or Reiki master level Yusui, you can receive the holy fire as an enhancement. So holy fire is its own consciousness. It was discovered with William Rand. He worked in partnership with a clairvoyant, Janice Jones, who has passed since. And they basically discovered the holy fire as a frequency, and they saw it, visually in like a vision, and just started channeling how to start to share this frequency with practitioners. And the difference is it's the frequency itself is a lot more powerful, and it's higher frequency, and it helps people faster, like achieve deep healing in a faster way. It penetrates blockages. The frequency of like unconditional love frequency, and like essentially, like if you were to feel the difference in how it is channeled, a lot of people say like their experience is a lot of the fluctuation in like really ice cold or like hot fluctuation in energy is how someone would actually feel it receiving it.
And what are some of the benefits of holy fire versus traditional Reiki, Usui Reiki? What does that look like for someone who is interested in getting a session?
The experience itself is more healing in achieving relief in whatever they're trying to balance. Like it can be emotional, it can be generational, it can be, just imbalance, or like chakra balancing, or like your auric field. It's your levels of consciousness like across the board. The difference itself is that the practitioner has more Reiki frequency, more Reiki capacity in order to
Wow.
channel at once. It's more powerful.
Yeah. So did you receive this before you were trained in it, or how did that look like for you?
I took Holy Fire from levels 1, 2, and Reiki Master level. So I did it all 3 levels. But that wasn't like a lot of people that do trainings. There are a lot of Holy Fire practitioners in the world, but it's not as common as the Usui. A lot
Mhm.
of people teach the Usui. So I
Yeah,
teach both at the same time.
amazing. And did you start to notice within yourself a benefit after getting activated to such a high frequency of energy?
Oh, yes. Definitely my sensitivity had gone up. I was feeling things a lot more deeply than I did before. With my own self practice, I could feel the shifts within myself, and being able to just, I could feel like my auric field expand just as a being, like that connection to myself. And just my own self healing, and being able to balance my own energy, and the like physical like downloads from the universe, like the psychic gifts, that stuff started like really, the connection happened like with more ease and clarity. So my channel just felt more potent in that way.
Wow, that's so incredible.
Mhm.
And when did you first start feeling called to teach it and to get activated to being a master?
Yeah, so that happened when it's interesting because now that you're asking me these questions, I'm noticing like what was happening in my life at the time.
Mm.
And I had just made a huge personal life shift to, leave a relationship, like a love relationship that I was in. And I decided to take that training with that. There was almost like an ending and a new beginning. And that was when I took it. And yeah, it was within that training. I really wasn't thinking like, okay, like I'm doing this to teach others. It was more so to with my own self-healing, like taking agency over myself, like I want to heal so I can ascend essentially. And so I can like help others too and be more aware in that way. But it really wasn't to teach someone else. It wasn't for us, the student. That actually happened later on when people were organically just kind of asking me about it. And then I noticed, I was like, okay, universe, I see what's going on here.
It's so interesting when the student becomes a teacher. I know myself included, when I first started on my Akashic Records journey specifically, I saw it as a way to enhance my psychic and intuitive gifts and increase my channeling ability. And I, thought, yeah, I'll do readings for people, but it was never my intention to do readings and then teach it. Oh my gosh. It's just so incredible how the universe leads you down a journey of exactly what you're here to do.
Absolutely. I hear that so much. I mean, and I think it's as like stepping into that teacher role and holding that type of space for myself, like I feel like it's from a very centered place of like okay, like I'm very humbled by like being in that teacher role and the students that like I do attract that would like to work with me. It feels like such a sacred bond, and I'm very passionate about just having community with practitioners and staying connected with the after the training, and making sure people feel held in that space too, because as a new practitioner, like it can feel vulnerable, and you can feel lonely, and community is very nice to have people to, yes, practice with, but also have like your teacher still there in order to ask questions and feel like you're not alone, because there's so many new things that happen. And from my experience with teaching and having like the after graduation, I had just noticed that in other trainings there isn't much that happens afterwards, and I really enjoy having that community to just offer to people that I have not trained myself, but are looking for that support too.
So, what do you offer for anyone listening who is thinking about receiving Reiki, doing a Reiki course, or who is looking for ongoing support with their own journey in that way? What does that look like?
So I offer monthly virtual attunements and Reiki shares. And that includes, we all get together the first Monday night. It's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are on there for about 90 minutes. It includes a attunement or ignition. So to help practitioners keep their frequency strong, expand their frequency, and really just like up level, and
Mhm.
then from there, we give each other Reiki. So everybody as a community, as a collective, will send Reiki to one person, and then we'll alternate through everyone. And we also receive it and give it. So it's nice. And then have a little chit chat if there's some time for it. So it's nice. A lot of people join live, but I also do record it, and the energy within the attunement stays in the container. So you'll like anyone who just watches the replay will receive that energy upgrade as well.
And are you teaching any classes soon?
Yeah, I have a level 1 and 2 coming up, which is in person, the 1st of June and the 8th of June. That's at Mindful Waters in Northvale, New Jersey. So I'm really excited about that. I actually just finished teaching a Reiki master level last weekend, which was super exciting. That was more like hybrid, like there was online and in person students, and that felt really special. So it felt good to kind of have that was the first time I experienced both at the same time. So I was a little nervous to teach both, but it was amazing. And the next one that I have coming up after this training will be in September, the end of September. And that's also a level 1, level 2 training. What I like to do is in spaces where I offer level 1, level 2, I'll offer a Reiki master level roughly 6 months later for students who'd like to, and they feel called to do their master level. The Reiki International requires 6 months between certifications in order to integrate and also, feel that preparation.
And are you offering any of those options virtually too, or are they all in person?
So I don't have any virtual trainings coming up right now, but I have thought about possibly doing one over this summer, but I haven't fully committed to it yet.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting us know, just in case anyone listening, if this is piquing their curiosity. I want to pivot our conversation a little bit and dive into your Kundalini journey because I feel like that's so huge and there's so much there for us to talk about. So, can you share with the audience what it means to be a Kundalini spiritual teacher and how you got started on that journey?
Yeah. So I started by that was back in 2019. I was going through my own personal healing and just found I was referred to a Kundalini teacher who supported me through assigning me meditations and kriyas that helped me with my own heart chakra, throat chakra blockages. This was before I knew what a chakra was. Like I just felt physically like I was having discomfort in those places, and I felt the power of Kundalini yoga within 4 days of these just meditations, my homework essentially. I was totally mind blown at how powerful it was. And ever since then, I've been practicing like on my own, and throughout my own journey, I noticed reflecting back on it during my Kundalini teacher training that in the like most difficult moments, the most like pivotal moments of my life, I really leaned into the Kundalini, and it
Mm.
just organically kind of was a part of my life. So back then I knew immediately I wanted to train, but I didn't feel ready until I think it was last year I found my teacher finally. Like it was the blaring stop sign. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. So and what does being a Kundalini teacher mean to me? It's it's just so intimate and raw, that connecting with my teacher and that experience and looking forward to being that person for other people. A Kundalini teacher is someone who really is aware of the student and their weaknesses and forces them essentially to rise. And the experience itself, um, the teacher in Kundalini does not look for the student. The student pursues the teacher, and that's a law in Kundalini yoga. So essentially, like the teacher's radiance will attract, and their vibration will attract the students. And they're essentially a forklift if you had to envision it. Like a Kundalini teacher is like, okay, like their job is to poke you and provoke you and elevate you. So
Wow.
the experience for the students sometimes can be uncomfortable.
Hmm. And so, what did your journey of study look like over the course of this last year?
Really intense. A lot of learning about like the history of yoga as a whole, the history of like Dharma, living a Dharmic life. What does that look like? A lot of study of like Sikhism, because the core of Kundalini yoga stems from those teachings. A lot of study around like the 10 gurus, which is within like the Sikh um, practice, and physical. Like this is something I think a lot of star seeds, what I've noticed, we're like very much in the clouds, and like the
Yeah.
earth life isn't, Kundalini yoga will get you right into your body. Like you know where all your organs are because they teach you all of the anatomies, and um then the highlight of Kundalini yoga essentially is like it's the yoga of experience. And when you experience it, you become very aware of yourself. And it gives you essentially like an outline of like, okay, I need to focus on, let's say it's like you're looking for things that are heart opening. You don't really have to like think about it. You can refer to the teachings of like heart opening meditations or kriyas, or breath works or what have you. It's easy to find out what you need to do.
Mm-hmm. And for you personally, what do your Kundalini practices look like? Is that a daily practice? Is that a weekly practice? How do you integrate that into your day-to-day life?
Yeah. So as a Kundalini teacher, I do what's called a daily sadhana, which is my own practice. And my current one is 62 minutes of one meditation where I sit and meditate. And it's on a mantra internally. And it also has breath work involved. So it's a combination of breath, asana in the seat. When you're sitting, it's actually considered a kriya because you're holding the position in a certain way. And there's a lot of like navel pumping. So that's like huge in Kundalini is like the navel willpower, like finding your personal power and a lot of pumping of the navel. So I do that for 62 minutes and it's the 30 minutes of like actual like asana, like physical yogic movement. So postures, stretches, breath, and then also relaxation. So savasana is similar.
And for anyone listening who is intrigued by Kundalini, are there kriyas that we can practice on our own? What does that look like? How does one go about finding a kriya or finding a Kundalini meditation that could benefit them? And it's 2:22 p.m. our time as I'm asking you this question. So extra emphasis.
Hi, awesome. I love that. So yes, great question. Free resources you can find on the 3HO website, which is actually the best website that you can look for Kundalini practices. It was created by Yogi Bhajan, which he brought Kundalini teachings to the West. That they're actually still practicing like all of his teachings. So that's the most authentic place to look. They have videos, actual written kriyas. So yeah, that's where I would definitely poke around.
Amazing. And when it comes to the work that you support your one-on-one clients with, how do you incorporate Kundalini practices or teachings into your client support? And what do people seek you out for help with on their own journeys?
Yeah. So with my clients, it's very interesting. A lot of them are referred to me through clients that I've worked with. So my business is very much referral based. And I work with, one-on-one just healing sessions or, some mentorships as well. A lot of it is very personally just guided. I connect with someone and they kind of seek me out and it's channeled, like it's intuitive. How we proceed with the support is very tailored to them. As far as the Kundalini part of that ties into that, in session, Kundalini does not come through for everyone that I work with. It speaks to certain people. And it will organically come through when someone needs something, and I will hear it very clearly. Whether it's their guides or mine,
Mhm.
it's very interesting how it does come through. It was coming through before I took the training, but now even more so because there's so much like that came just to the conscious mind. So
Absolutely. So when you work with a client, it's very intuitive in terms of the modalities that you use with them in order to best support what they're
yeah,
coming to you for.
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, a lot of my sessions are very collaborative. If I first meet someone, what I typically will do is have a call just complimentary. We meet via Zoom or over the phone, and we just kind of chit chat, get to know each other a little bit, and typically get a feel for what direction we're going. And in that moment, we all have free will, and our guides will come through in that call where. Um, we'll have a direction in which we proceed. And typically that'll happen with like a one-on-one session. I do see in-person clients and also virtual. And in those sessions, a lot of just channeled guidance will come through. And if the client needs specific modalities to incorporate in their day-to-day life or monthly life, that definitely comes through.
And I know you also have been trained in the Akashic Records as well.
Yeah.
So we are truly a multi-dimensional, multifaceted healer in so many different ways. So how do you use the records in your practice with your clients? What does that look like?
So I tend to open the records in my Reiki sessions. I'll ask permission to open the records. I'll open the records essentially in every session if the client is open to it. I find that it is so, so helpful for finding root causes of discomforts and getting to the real, like, nitty-gritty of the healing. So, and clients love it. I mean, it really helps us um, have clarity around like what's happening and just open us up to like all their levels of consciousness, and we're just very aware of things. So yeah, that's how I utilize the records. I work with it every day. I love it. And I find that the space itself gives us clear direction. Like if we're asking for action steps, it's very easy to work with the Akashic Records um to get some clear steps that we can take to heal quickly.
Definitely. We love that. We love to hear that here on this podcast. Can you think of any specific examples of client challenges? Of course, we're respecting client confidentiality, but just any really interesting examples or client experiences you've helped worked through recently and how your clients have benefited from your time together.
Yeah, let me think for a moment here. What is a recent client win that's been interesting?
Hmm.
Lately, which is not the norm for me, but lately I've been working a lot with clients' ancestral energies, and we've been doing a lot of generational healing. And one client in particular is never met their birth parents. And we've been working with them in the ethers and doing some healing around that. And it has been pretty amazing how quickly the peace around a lot of just looming feelings and just things that she's been really struggling with in her life, her whole life, essentially have really been able to be put to bed and just, heal and be actually like okay with it,
Mhm.
and the cool part is she has been seeing a tarot reader who I've never met before that is like in her area. And after almost every single one of our sessions, she has messaged me and been like, oh, by the way, such and such pulled these cards and said, and she'll proceed to say like exactly what we did, like the healings on, or just confirming exactly what was done. And it's just been really cool to just have that just validation again afterwards, and also just as a practitioner, like I really sat and thought a couple of times where I'm like, wow, I really want to meet this girl that's been like pulling these cards,
Yes.
I feel like we're friends in the ethers somewhere.
Totally. I find it so cool to hear how intuitive gifts in tandem and work in tandem where you may be channeling something similar to somebody else, and it's always just confirmation to the client that they are on the right path or that their healing journey is going exactly as it needs to.
Yeah, for sure. And even for me, like I was really surprised. Like I really do love those moments of just like, wow, the universe is so incredible. Like information that wouldn't be mistaken, like so specific, it's
Mhm.
not like a very it's just so specific. I just, it blew my.
Which, of course, we didn't even talk about this. Catherine is also a psychic medium,
Oh,
so she can also connect to the other side. So, do you find that loved ones come through for you often in your sessions, or what does that look like?
yeah, it comes and it goes. I ask permission always from the client before session if ancestors are okay to connect with, because I find, we have boundaries around things like just through our human experience. And because they do come through for me, I like to ask first. But working with ancestral energies, it's so different, and I love the variety of session because that gives me just another method to support the client with that just feels really just potent and healing, and it helps a lot of karmic, I've noticed, ties and just contracts where we need to find that forgiveness in order to move on. Working with the ancestral energies really have helped with that.
Oh my gosh, I can speak to that so much too, where our clients, sometimes all they need to hear is that their loved one is proud of them, or that they're here to support them, or that their ancestor is a guide and spirit. And that can really just help someone feel so strong and convicted in their path, and knowing that they are, they are healing, they are moving forward. It can be such a beautiful gift to give someone.
Yes, absolutely. And it just feels so, like, as a practitioner, to be able to hold the space for someone to like be vulnerable in that way and share certain things that are so personal and so in their like core, and also connect with their loved one. It's such a, like, I can't even put into words like how humbled I am to be able to be in that container, just exist there, and just be that middle for them.
So that leads me to my next question, which is for anyone listening who is on their own intuitive journey. Obviously, you have the ability to channel a lot of different frequencies, different energies. And for anyone who is like, well, how does Catherine do it? How does she tune into these different things? Do you have any guidance for anyone who is learning about how to discern who or what you're connecting with?
Yeah. Follow your gut instinct, always call in protection, call in whatever, to protect your energy first, and then sit and listen and feel. And whatever you're feeling is true. And like teaching yourself that, like, you, this is not your first lifetime. Like, you have been here before. You are a multi-dimensional being. We are here as spiritual beings to have a human experience. Like, trust that. And just sit there. And if you feel anything is off, trust it. And just use your power in your word, whether you speak it or have it in your mind, internal dialogue, and just put up those boundaries and continue and ask questions while you're there. And also just like, I would say just sit even before you ask a question and see what organically just comes to you, and just feel that openness and then the shifts in the frequency. And once you start to notice things and you feel ready, just have some questions written down and just start to ask and see how you feel.
That's so powerful. I think a lot of us don't want to sit in the silence, and it can be hard because we live in a world where there are so many distractions. But you're so right. When we really take that time to just sit with the energies and get used to feeling different frequencies, we can truly become more discerning with what we're connecting with.
Truly. Yeah, I agree. And also, like, with what you mentioned with society, like, that's where Kundalini yoga is so powerful, is like quieting the mind. Like, we all have a busy mind. We were given a mind in this human body for this experience, to learn how to use it to work for us, not it work us, you know? So Kundalini yoga is so powerful with recognizing like, okay, my mind is busy. Is it a positive mind? Is it a negative mind? Is it a neutral mind? Like, where am I at here? And then even from there, like there are meditations that are, you know, like what you were mentioning with resistance to sitting, like there are meditations that are 3 minutes that you sit with yourself for 3 minutes. And the science in the teaching proves that it's going to benefit you in those 3 minutes. And all you have to do is commit to dedicating those 3 minutes a day to sitting, you know, and once you commit to, you know, okay, I'm going to do this for this amount of days, you know, and I'm committing to this, you'll notice that like things start to shift for you and you have more agency over like what's happening in your experience in this human life.
Oh my gosh, such powerful advice and guidance, which leads me to my next question, which connects us back to what we were talking about at the beginning. For our projectors out there, obviously you have a lot going on. You're also very disciplined, and you also make time for yourself to rest. So what recommendations do you have or tips for anyone who needs help with managing their energy?
Yeah. So projectors out there and also people that tend to burn out, I would definitely suggest schedule your time for rest and do not make up excuses for working when you're supposed to be resting. And when you do it, because it'll happen, show yourself some grace by just sending love and compassion to yourself because you're learning. And I'm speaking to myself here too. Like, I have shifted my schedule around. I can't even tell you how many times. And I really do have to be real with like, where am I energetically? Because as a projector, I only have so much energy. And a lot of my personal discovery has been around actually being real with the amount of energy that I have. Because I think I have more energy than I do. And the habit of, oh, I'll just do this really quick, or I'll just do that really quick. It's like that stuff adds up. So what my suggestion would be is schedule everything, like your lunch, your dinner time, your 10 minutes. I mean, for me, a game changer for me was midday, like fake naps. I literally lay there for like a half an hour. And of course, if you have time for that or more, I mean, that'd be wonderful. To just lay. And even though my eyes like are closed, I'm pretending to sleep. Sometimes I do, but it tricks my body into like thinking it's like really, it's very restful. And I wake up and I have this like newfound energy. So my advice would be schedule everything, even if it feels silly to put on your schedule, do it anyway. Organization has been a game changer for me in that department. And the fake naps.
I love this advice. I need to follow all of this. And I find too, if I take 10, 15 minutes to just lie down in the middle of my day, it makes a huge difference. And I'm a manifesting generator. So my projectors out there, you may need more time than me. So definitely schedule that time in because it does help for sure.
Yeah, I hear you. And really like, and I have resistance every day to doing it. Like I'll come up with something every single day to be like, do I really need to lay down? I feel like I have more energy. And it's like, no, just do it. Like don't
Mm.
get past the mind and just do it.
Also, I would love to know what is bringing you joy in your life right now.
Oof, what is bringing me joy? I have been spending a lot of time with my family. We baked cookies the other day and baked bread, and we laughed and just had food together. It's been just really nice to be with family. I kind of fluctuate with my energy levels of being alone because I definitely am more of a like introverted, like recharge my energy at home alone type of person. And socializing can be draining on my energy, but like lately I've been really just digging it. Like with family eating, I've been eating a lot, a lot more than
Love it.
usual. Yeah. The weather here, it's, you know, been beautiful out. So I've been taking a lot of walks. And really I've started taking a blanket and this is new, taking a blanket, going outside, finding like a patch of grass in the sun, and just like bringing a coloring book and some colored pencils and a sketchbook. And I sit out in the sun and I just like doodle and hang out and shut my phone off and just be with myself in the sun. And it feels great.
Yes, I'm gonna do that. That sounds fantastic. So many good tips, Catherine. I would love to know, what do you have going on in your business? How can people work with you? How would you like to support people right now?
Yeah, so I've been loving the one-on-one space right now, just like working with people and just making those connections and supporting them in just where they're at, and see exactly like what they need from what I can offer, like whether it's yoga or um talking about their like shadow aspect, because I really do attract naturally people's stuff, the stuff that we don't normally talk about. And I know and I feel like a lot of my journey is like bringing light to that, like the wounding, and just like healing it so people can move on, and just yeah, I love to just connect to people and support in any method that I can.
Fantastic. And so we have to end our conversation by talking about mysticism. So, Catherine, what does being a mystic mean to you?
Yeah, just dedicating my life to this beautiful journey of just self-discovery and healing, and saying yes, to transformation, and bringing just like so much energy into the unknown, like what's next, like just being on that roller coaster of like creating and just going through and supporting people and change, and the ups and the downs that come with all of that.
Yes, perfect. And do you have any tips for living a more mystical life?
Yeah. Setting intentions around like being present, like in the moment, and like showing that just gratitude for where you are, because true magic really does come from that.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. I mean, I can't wait to go get my blanket and lie in the sun with my sketchbook because that just really, to me, exemplifies being present. And everything you spoke to today really helps us be present and grounded in the body. So, thank you for bringing that gift to everybody who's listening.
Yes, and thank you for having me and allowing me to share in your space and connect with all these beautiful souls that I may have not reached, and I appreciate our connection and our time together today. So thank you.
You're welcome. And where can people find you?
Well, thedivinemotherhealer.com is my website. Instagram at the Divine Mother Healer. I have a Facebook, same name, the Divine Mother Healer, or they can email me at uh, Catherine at thedivinemotherhealer.com.
Perfect. And I will leave links below for everything in the show notes, including to some of the resources that Catherine mentioned. So thank you so much. Bye, everyone.